It wasn't easy, it wasn't fun.
In 2025, which driver clinched the 33rd and final starting spot for the Indy 500 came down to a storybook shootout between two teammates.
It was honestly awful because neither of us wanted to be there.
Jacob Abel, an IndyCar rookie fighting to start this race for the first time, and Rinus VeeKay, who in all of his Indy 500 attempts had never qualified worse than 7th.
If he can find a half a mile an hour for the average, Jacob Abel will be in the Indy 500. Rinus VeeKay will be in the Indy 500.
Yeah, it sucks, but it was cool while it lasted.
A year later, Jacob is back racing a one-off entry for his family team.
You have to be on bump day
So, what was it like missing out on his dream?
and experience what happens, at the top on the other end of the spectrum to fully understand what this place means.
And what's it like returning for redemption? If you were to go back to the qualifying last year, what had people told you about it? Because I remember watching like Graham Rahal get knocked out and just how emotional the whole thing is, how much weight is put on your shoulders. Like what did drivers talk about when they talk about that day?
I honestly, I got a lot of support last year after kind of everything went down. Support from drivers, I'd never even really talked to before. Guys like Ryan Hunter-Reay, he won the first Indy 500 that I ever attended back in 2014. So that was just a cool thing to have a guy like that come up to me. Obviously, he, has dealt with similar stuff, experiencing bump day and all of that before. And, he said that you have to be on bump day and experience that. And experience what happens, at the top on the other end of the spectrum to fully understand what this place means. Honestly, share the whole experience with my teammate at the time, Rinus VeeKay, who up until last year had a qualifying record here of 3.2 or something was his average. So that made me a lot more confident and made it a lot easier because, we were both fighting against each other for the last spot. It made me feel at least a little bit better about, what I was doing for sure.
How did that play? I mean, we were standing there right behind his pit box and then watching you get out and go talk. And after you spoke, and you were incredibly calm. You said, it sucks, but it was cool while it lasted. It felt very measured for how much was happening. Did it sink in that moment? Did it take a while to appreciate?
It honestly all unraveled so quickly. We didn't really think, you always have it in the back of your mind, okay, bump day, all of that. But the whole week leading up to it, we really didn't think we were at threat for that. Yeah, we weren't going to go out there and get pole, but we never really.
There's 32 other spots.
Exactly. So it was almost the same thing as I'm experiencing now. It hadn't fully set in that I was racing in the Indy 500 yet. The whole month, it really hadn't. So then it kind of gets stripped away and it's oh, okay, Sunday rolled around and this is just another Indy 500 where I'm spectating. I'm still happy to be here. Weird that I should have maybe been in the race or could have or whatever. Definitely a bit of an emotional roller coaster. It wasn't easy. It wasn't fun, especially to have to battle against Rinus. We worked so closely together through the whole entire season. And then that day, that hour, that last row shootout hour, we had to kind of go head to head against each other. We were trying to out-qualify each other. And we were trying to, okay, we need to go out now and then maybe they won't get a chance. And it's terrible, because neither of us wanted to be there. We were both, unfortunately, a decent chunk slower than the rest of the field. So
in most races, slow means qualifying at the back of the grid. But with the Indy 500, you don't just qualify for your starting position, you qualify to race it. You see, there's only 33 grid spots, which means if you're too slow on bump day, like Jacob was, then you won't race at all.
So it was honestly awful because, Rinus has become a really close friend of mine this year. He was a mentor. He was helping me out a lot. It was super tough to have to deal with all that.
I know this race, I've heard you speak about how this race has been such a part of your life for the whole of it. What is that experience like in your first time racing this race? I don't mean what happened. I mean, truly, when you showed up on day one.
No, it's spectacular. I mean, last year at the open test, it's over a year ago now. It was so cool. You spend so much time at this place throughout the junior open wheel ranks and and even in IndyCar and all of that, testing, and we spend a lot of time at this track. So to finally, go around it in the correct direction was pretty special for sure. And then going through ROP the first time is always surreal. Race day is going to be super emotional for sure, especially after last year, coming so close after, I've pictured and envisioned myself, sitting on that grid so many times before, to finally actually do it this year is going to be insane.
This time, Jacob is lucky that only 33 entries means he has a starting spot. But racing the Indy 500 requires more than just months of preparation and a speedway car. You only have to look at Alexander Rossi, who went from qualifying front row to crutches in a day for proof that the Indy 500 never shows mercy. For Jacob to find redemption, it would mean focus and preparation through to the bitter end. How has that changed your approach into what you've done this year versus last year in terms of the setup and getting everything going? Is it being more open to change?
Yeah, I think, having last year to kind of have as a baseline helps. I did all of practice week. I did way more qualifying runs than I would have liked to, for sure. But yeah, I think that definitely helped me a lot going into this month, having a little bit more of a base to pull from. Obviously, doing it with my family team, and yeah, the relevancy of staying in a car through the off season and through these first races has definitely helped keep me a little bit less rusty for sure.
Now that you're back here, your starting position's guaranteed and you'll go out. How has the pressure felt different to you? Like, what have been the things that you've been really trying to get right or feel good about now that you know that at least that part is done?
I get out of the car and I'm super disappointed because I thought, we should have been further up the grid, and I really wanted to have like a really good run, especially after last year. And so I was a bit disappointed, but then, everyone's coming up to me and saying, you just qualified for the Indy 500. Like, what does this mean? I'm like, you're right. Well, I don't know why I don't feel more excited, but I guess that's just because I'm a race car driver. But since then it has set in a lot more, and, it is going to be super special. I still don't know what it's all going to feel like and all that. And it's going to be super emotional, I know, but yeah, it is a pretty cool thing for sure.
Last year, Jacob raced for Dale Coyne, but this year, the car says Abel. He's grown up with this team. Mechanics became brothers, and the garage became his home away from home. The question for me was whether racing with his extended family would make the difference. You've got people around you who've been around you since, you were a kid racing, so like they know you well. What does that feel like for you? How does that change your mindset coming into everything?
It just makes me appreciate the whole entire experience a lot more. And then to, add the whole entire family side of it, my literal family has been here and been very supportive, but then, also my sort of adapted family over the past few years with Abel Motorsports. And these are people that have been there pretty much since day one of my racing career. I've shared success, wins, fought for championships, podiums, all of that with a ton of the people that are in this garage and working on this IndyCar. And so with that being said, I have so much trust in them. It's just trying to kind of work together and channel that energy into an IndyCar and learn that.
So what would the win then mean for you, for the family, for the extended family being the team?
I think the win is already just kind of being here and just having gotten to this point. We have a race car that we know is fast, and we know that we can put on track on Sunday and go out and have a chance at, a good result. And I think that in itself is a massive win for everyone. We've already achieved so much, and I'm already so happy with that, what happens on race day is almost going to be a bonus, because I'm already just so proud of everything that everyone's been able to do. We're the smallest team here by a long shot. And, we've had on top of that a very little amount of time to put everything together. So I think anything we can do will be pretty spectacular.
That puts you in the perfect situation. It's like optimize the variables in the worst way,
right?
But then you learn from that experience versus being in a castle where you have everything laid out. Right. You've got months to prepare. You don't have to think about it.
I think it all comes down to kind of what you expect and managing that and everything. And I think that's, that's key.